So today I decided to upload something a bit more different to my channel. There's still no announcement for a new Call of Duty game, and so I thought, why not take a step back and just talk about gaming. As you all know, I focus on Call of Duty Zombies on this channel. I uploaded Zombies content for about over 2 years now. But today I will talk about my top 5 favorite video game franchises. I know, exciting isn't it? Now, I'm not expecting a crazy amount of views on this video, it's more like a personal video with my origin story, if you will. Now, this list wasn't easy to make, especially choosing the number 5 spot, but I decided to put Bioshock on this list. Now, I first played the Bioshock games in 2016 and was blown away. I always knew about the franchise, but I waited until the Bioshock collection on PS4 released to play it. Let's just say the story and gameplay were amazing. But the thing that made the games so special was the atmosphere, especially in the first 2 games. The setting, Rapture, an underwater city with some classic 50s or 60s look, just felt really unique. Now, when you play the game, the city is not really pretty. It's destroyed, abandoned and full of enemies. But that only makes it more gritty and a better experience. Now, the storytelling was really something else. From huge revelations and plot twists to characters that you actually cared for, the game had it all. In my opinion, the deeper meaning of resolving a time travel paradox was never better displayed on a screen than with this game franchise. I honestly don't want to spoil anything about it. If you haven't played the games, I can only recommend them. As a whole, I would say that the second game was probably the weakest, but it still added so much to the universe and characters. Oh yeah, the characters. For example, there are enemies, so-called Big Daddies, that still give me nightmares just because of the tension that I felt when crossing ways with them. They could easily rip you apart and, yeah, they were way more powerful than a player in the beginning. But I haven't seen a game like Bioshock ever again. I really hope to revisit Rapture or Columbia again someday, but we will see. Next we have one of my most defining franchises ever, Assassin's Creed. I played every single game apart from the last one, and honestly I don't know where to start. Assassin's Creed 1 was the first game I played. I was so shocked about the ending and couldn't believe what I saw. I spent days figuring out what it meant, and when Assassin's Creed 2 released, 1 year later, I finally had answers. But way more questions than ever before. By the way, they continued this cliffhanger trend for the next 5 games, so it was always exciting. Now, Assassin's Creed is obviously known for its historic time periods, the fun gameplay, the parkour aspect, the stealth and assassins, duh. And while I enjoyed the stories of Altair, Ezio and Edward Kenway, I was also intrigued by the modern day story. The whole end of the world and first civilization story was groundbreaking storytelling back then. It was like a story in a story. The franchise moved on year after year with new games and new main characters, and it was great. But, of course, they reached their peak at some point. And after that, it all just got really bad in my opinion. I personally would say that the last good game was Black Flag, maybe even Rogue, but Unity, Syndicate, Origins and Odyssey were all not that memorable anymore. And especially with Origins and Odyssey, the franchise turned into an RPG. And I honestly don't like RPGs. I mean, I have nothing against them, obviously. If you like them, that's fine. But in Assassin's Creed games, you were always this powerful assassin. I spent days playing Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, killing hundreds of enemies with the kill streaks, and that felt just satisfying, you know? But ever since Assassin's Creed introduced ranks for enemies, it's not fun anymore. I could talk way more about Assassin's Creed and why it lost its identity, but let's just say I moved on from the franchise. The open worlds became also too big, yes, too big, and apparently they are still going with this trend for the next game. But honestly, I don't have the time to spend 200 hours into one playthrough to collect every single point of interest and treasure box anymore. And especially after they ruined the modern day story, the one consistent part that got me excited after each single game until Black Flag, I have no reason to stick around anymore. So with that being said, I have no hopes for Valhalla, but I might still pick it up if it's good. Next we have Call of Duty Zombies, the one franchise you maybe know me for. Now, I have been playing since 2015 and considering that BO3 was my first introduction to zombies, it's not even that long ago. I'm definitely not a zombies veteran, but I enjoyed zombies. The co-op survival aspect was really something else, and it got me hooked. I had so much fun playing public matches and slowly getting better at the game. Then I did the Eisendraches Easter egg with a real life friend and a friend that we made online, and it was simply amazing. We blew up the moon after at least 5 or 6 months of trying. It was our first Easter egg and we all were trash, but it didn't matter. This game mode, Zombies, is really something special. The EVA story went on for over 10 years and through Zombies tons of players made friendships and had great experiences that they can look back at. Year after year the community got bigger, and Call of Duty even introduced other zombie modes from different developers like Infinite Warfare Zombies and World War II Zombies. The games got bigger and more complex. Zombies as a whole appealed to many different players. You could camp with your friends, complete Easter egg quests, go for a high round world record, or revive newer players in public games. There was something for everyone. Even I felt inspired to create this channel to give some tips and guides for this game mode. And I don't regret it a single bit, because this Zombies community was for the most part amazing. Of course there's some negativity every now and then, and after each game's life cycle the community kinda dies, but it always comes back for the next game, and that's just why I love this franchise so much. Now, what game franchises do I like more than Call of Duty, you might ask? Well, how about Uncharted? Uncharted 1 was the first ever PS3 game that I got. It was Christmas Eve and I got the PS3 bundle with Uncharted and I had no idea what this game was about. But as soon as I played it, I loved it. The story about Nathan Drake, the lucky and funny treasure hunter, was simply amazing. The game felt like an actual movie. It had fun dialogue, great set pieces and zombies of course, because why not? So I really liked it, but when Uncharted 2 released, I was even more blown away. The second game topped everything from the first game. We had even bigger set pieces, like the moving train and the lost city of Shambhala, and we also got a really evil bad guy. Nathan Drake, along with his friends Sully, Chloe and Elena, truly delivered some action-adventure games. As the series moved along, the quality didn't drop at all. The third game still delivered a good story, and the multiplayer was something else. Now, I didn't have an online account to play multiplayer games back then, but together with my brother, we played the co-op survival arena and it was the best thing ever. It was pretty much surviving 10 rounds of enemies on some random map, but of course that was too easy. So we played on the hardest difficulty against even bigger and more powerful enemies, and it was a blast. I wouldn't trade in that memories for anything in the world. Uncharted 4 released 5 years after Uncharted 3 and it felt like forever. I was ready to play my favorite franchise one last time before saying goodbye to Nathan Drake and his adventures. And it was totally worth it. The fourth game was still brilliant and it looked better than ever. I only have good memories about Uncharted and it will always be one of my favorite video game franchises. So what's my absolute favorite franchise? It's Ratchet and Clank. Remember 2 minutes ago when I said I was hyped because Uncharted 1 was my first ever PS3 game? Well, Ratchet and Clank 2 Going Commando was my first ever PS2 game. I know, nostalgia, but with all honesty, this game franchise accompanied me for 16 years now. I started with the second game, played the third one, got the very first one, then I played the fourth one, and then I got a PSP. Why did I get a PSP? Well, to play the exclusive Ratchet and Clank PSP games obviously, only to find out that they also released on PS2 a few years later. And of course when the PS3 came out, they also released a new Ratchet and Clank game, so I had to buy a PS3 to continue their journey. Now I know, it might just be a kids game, or it appeals to kids, but at this point I don't care. I played every major game and was ready to move on from Ratchet and Clank in 2013 after Into the Nexus released. But it ended on a cliffhanger. And now I have been waiting 7 years for a new Ratchet and Clank game. By the way, the PS4 reimagining doesn't count. It's just a bad remake of the first game. 7 years, I want to know what happened to the Lombaxes. Where are they? Did Clank fix the Dimensionator? Is Tachyon alive? We need answers. So yeah, I really hope there is a new Ratchet and Clank game coming for the PS5. And just so you know, if it ever comes out, I might upload videos about Ratchet and Clank. I kid you not. It's after all these years my favorite video game franchise. And I want to see creative and fun weapons again, to blow shit up, you know? God, I miss the Rhino. And the characters and humor in those games are truly something else. The first 3 or 4 games even had, well, not jokes for kids, but anyways, I think the world is ready for a new game and I can't wait for it. And that's it. That are my top 5 video game franchises. Don't worry, I will still upload zombies content, but maybe every now and then I might still make a video about something else. I'm gonna play The Last of Us 2 when it comes out, so I might make a review about that game or its multiplayer mode. Because I also played a lot of The Last of Us multiplayer back in the days. Unfortunately, it's only one game, so it didn't make it on the list. By the way, honorable mentions go out to GTA, Need for Speed, Jak and Daxter, Far Cry, and maybe Borderlands. So yeah, that's my list. What are your favorite video game franchises? Let me know. Maybe we can talk about them. So thanks for watching and I see you next time. Bye.